Most corporate strategies don't fail because the strategy was bad. They fail because the system around it was invisible. And if you're leading a team or a division and feel stuck juggling quarterly pressures, silos, and constant change, you're not alone. So today I'm going to give you a practical framework used by high-performing organizations to create clarity, alignment, and long-term direction, even in chaotic environments. In this video, we're going to break down in simple terms the following: how to create a strategic vision that actually guides decisions. We'll talk about how to think in systems instead of silos, how to align culture and strategy, how to coordinate cross-functional execution, and then how to turn everything into a simple 90-day cycle. So let's get deeper here in the video. And I'm going to term these as payoffs. So payoff number one is vision alone isn't enough. Systems alone aren't enough. Here's one thing that will save you years of frustration, and that is vision without systems is inspiring. Systems without vision are exhausting. So a company with vision but no system has simply just posters, slogans, and speeches, but they can't execute. A company with systems but no vision is busy, reactive, and always firefighting. Modern leadership today requires both: a strategic vision to tell the employees a picture of where they're going, and systems thinking to understand how the parts of the organization are connected. And when these two actually come together, the organization finally moves in one unified direction. Payoff number two: we need to create a long-term strategic vision. Before we build dashboards or key performance indicators, leaders need clarity and organizations need clarity. A strong vision answers 5 things. First, the purpose, mission, and values. Why do we exist? What do we stand for? And what is our current state? Then we look at, with that current state, where are we today? What's our strengths? What's our weaknesses? What's our threats? What's our opportunities? Then we have some forecasting involved to look at our future state. Where do we want to be 3 to 10 years from now? And those aren't just numbers. They're the capabilities of the organization, the identity, and the culture. Then it's time to identify the gaps. What's missing? Maybe there's skills missing, systems are missing, processes, mindset, and possibly even structure. And then we look at the cascading goals, meaning starting with big objectives, but then narrowing those down to annual goals and then quarterly actions to achieve them. A simple example would include this. Maybe the purpose is we will deliver world-class customer experiences. Our current state is we're fragmented with inconsistent workflows. The future would be seamless with unified customer experience and a unified customer journey. And then the gaps could possibly be our talent, our systems, maybe even leadership alignment. So the objective would be become number one in customer satisfaction. And this would be the foundation of the strategic clarity. Payoff number 3, think in systems, not silos. And this is the big one. This is a big unlock for most leaders because organizations are not supposed to be just separate departments. They are interconnected systems. And one change in finance affects operations. One change in HR affects performance, and one change in marketing affects sales. So an example of maybe a negative connotation within the organization could be, we have burnout. Burnout equals low innovation equals slow revenue, and then budget cuts, and then more burnout. We have to prevent that. And so when leaders map interdependencies, bottlenecks show up, misalignment becomes visible, and culture issues become solvable. So tools that help this is strategic initiative maps, resource dependency charts, stakeholder network maps, trying to connect it all together And seeing the system will always help you see the truth. Payoff number 4, align strategy with culture. And this is actually where most strategies die quietly, because culture can either fuel your strategy or it can actually fight them. So to align them together, we have to define culture and behaviors and not just cliche buzzwords. We have to connect behaviors to results, align our hiring, align our promotions, and align our rewards. So telling the same strategic story consistently becomes important. For example, if innovation is a strategy, but you reward perfection, innovation will die. If empowerment is the value, but leaders micromanage, empowerment dies. When culture supports the strategy, everything becomes easier. Payoff number 5, we have to prevent silos from killing our execution. If your team is always fighting, your strategy breaks. Cross-functional alignment requires this: a shared transparency, shared knowledge, shared language, clear ownership, transparent metrics, and regular alignment meetings. Imagine you're launching a product where the product, sales, and marketing share one plan instead of 3 competing ones. That would be phenomenal in any organization. So high-performing organizations build a cross-functional nervous system, which means they have monthly alignment reviews, shared dashboards, clear escalation paths within the organization, and unified priorities. This eliminates surprises and turf wars within the organizations. Payoff number 6, balance short-term results with long-term vision. You don't have to choose between today and tomorrow, because great organizations use tools like OKRs, which would be objectives plus key results. They break their long-term goals into quarterly focus areas. So things like this would be like portfolio thinking or distributing resources intentionally, which means you would think about, let me put 60% of my resources into the core business, 30% of my resources into growth initiatives, and 10% of my resources into experiments that may or may not make it. This creates stability, but also fosters and encourages innovation. Visible wins would include building quick successes into long-term plans to help keep people motivated. This is how you will escape quarter to quarter survival mode. Payoff number 7, make change stick with a 90-day execution cycle. Most strategies fail in execution, not design. You do need a structure. You need frameworks that create change, like the Cotter framework or one called the ADKAR, to guide people through the emotional and operational side of change. Then you run your strategy through a 90-day rhythm. So consider this: weeks 1 through 4, you're looking at the data, creating a SWOT analysis, looking at the values, developing them, having a strategic framework, and then maybe take the leadership off-site to define long-term objectives. In the next 2 to 3 weeks, cascade the goals like we've covered earlier to the teams. And then ongoing, weekly key performance indicators are reviewed, having monthly reviews as well, and then quarterly resets. Pick one of these strategic priorities and run a full 90-day cycle. I know that you'll be shocked at the momentum. When you combine long-term vision, systems thinking, culture alignment, cross-functional collaboration, and disciplined execution, you stop reacting and you start architecting your organization's future. That's the difference between managing the present and designing the future. As we serve together, Dr. Jeff.